Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Kumbi show. And this is the review of the T20 series India versus Australia that just concluded on Saturday with India winning the series 2-1. The five-match series started with a no result and also ended with a no result. And in between three matches was like a three-match T20 series with India winning 2-1. And to discuss how the series went, what all India did in the series and what all they could have done differently is our expert K. Srinath, player turn umpire. Welcome, Sri. Welcome to the Kumbi show. And how have you been? It seems like it's been quite some time since we spoke.
Thanks, Jiku. Yes, I think the last we caught up was post India winning the Women's ODI World Cup. So after that, we have caught up now 2-1 victory, which India had in the series against Australia. Though was a no result, as you mentioned. Yes, Jiku, thank you. I'm doing very well. Hope you're also doing well.
Yes, thank you, Sri. Thank you. It's always doing better after seeing you and after hearing you, especially on this show. Okay, so the T20 series victory, a fourth consecutive series win for India in bilaterals, 2 at home, 2 away in Australia, dating back to the 2021 series. What do you infer from this T20 series that India won?
To be honest, yes, India once again have proved, why they have been world champions in this shortest format. And I always say that, this is a side which has cracked the formula to ensure to keep the winning percentage and success rate going higher and higher. Undoubtedly, India is one of the sides to beat in this particular format, not taking away, what they have done in the ODI format or in Test match cricket. But they look like invincibles in this particular format. And this, young brigade under Surya Kumar Yadav, they don't seem to, falter or put a foot wrong in whatever they have been doing so far. A tremendous achievement to beat a strong side like Australia, four times in the last 4 series bilaterals they have played in T20 cricket. That's commendable. And yes, of course, as I mentioned, these young players, they are fearless. And, there is no fear of failure within them. And they've been given the license to go and express themselves, which they have done extremely well so far.
And that fearless quality starts from the top with the openers Abhishek Sharma and his close friend Shubman Gill. They were the highest run getters for the series 1 and 2, Abhishek Sharma and Shubman Gill. Though Shubman Gill didn't start the series well, he caught on and was going all over the Australian bowlers. India have settled down with this opening pair for the World Cup. Would you agree?
Well, what think tank, is looking at, because Shubman Gill being elevated to the vice captaincy in the T20 World Cup would certainly at some point in time be, a starter for, the T20 games. Having said that, yes, he's not been able to replicate the sort of form he's shown in the IPL into international T20 ice. So that has been a bit of a concern because he's got off to rollicking starts, but he's not kicked on to make those, big scores, which we always expect from him. Having said that, he showed the glimpses of his old form in T20 cricket, which we always associate Shubman Gill with. It was refreshing to see 2 old mates coming from Punjab. One, the dashing and dynamic left hand of Abhishek Sharma, and the calmness, the finish, and the sort of raw power also, which Shubman Gill can bring to the table. And yes, no doubt, in a typically a 5-match series, which became a 3-match, bilateral, by virtue of 2 games not having any result. I think they proved that why they are one of the best and most feared opening pairs in world cricket today.
Do you think the way Abhishek Sharma played this series, we spoke about how the pitches in Australia will help him and suit his kind of batting. You think he should have done much more, or that was what he did was good enough?
I think, he's been given a job, well-defined And we all know, once he kicks on, if he can bat 7, 8 overs into the innings, he can kick on and make big scores. I think the bounce really helped him play some good shots. Yes, always that appetite, that hunger for runs would be there, and he himself would be king himself when he got off to good starts and, hold out in the deep. Because Australia is a place where you get to play these games on big boundaries. Most of these Indian batters or Australian batters who got out on the boundary line, it would have been a six at any given point of time in any other ground in the world. Having said that, yes, I think it was a learning curve for him. First time around in Australia, a lot of people had apprehensions and they were apprehensive as to how this young Indian brigade would cope up with the pace and bounce in Australia and the bigger boundaries. But I thought Shubman Gill ticked all boxes, and certainly, he can be proud of the performance which he put up. Yes, obviously, as I said, he might be a touch disappointed not having made bigger scores. But yes, he certainly, can put up his feet and say his contribution in this series was really good for the Indian side.
And we have seen Abhishek Sharma score at least 2 or 3 50s in a series, but then he ended up with only one. But having said that, there was not a single 50 even from the captain Surya Kumar Yadav, who began the series in that no-result game in Canberra, but then he was not firing like he is known to. What is happening to Surya Kumar Yadav?
It's not about what's happening to Surya Kumar Yadav. I mean, yes, his form has been a bit of a concern in the last about 6 to 8 months where he's not fired with the bat. But he's been spot on with his leadership. He's made those, changes that have really worked well for India. He's handled the unit well per se. But the worry has been, there's been so much of shunting in the batting order. We see Surya walk up at number 3 one day. We see Tilak coming in number 3 the next day. Suddenly we see somebody like Shivam Dubey elevated number 3. So the thought process of the think tank, what is going behind the scenes is something, not people are aware of. So I mean, there's no fixated position for either the number 3, 4, 5 or 6 in the Indian batting lineup. The only fixed positions are that of Shubman Gill and Abhishek Sharma at the top. So whether this is going to be the, a way forward for the Indian side, where, even the 3, 4, 5 and are going to be floaters for India, we had to wait and watch. That also could be a reason because Surya has not batted at, his patent number 3 position on a long basis. So I think certainly we can see him rediscover his old form.
Is this fair to keep that number 3, 4, 5 floating, or it is going to do Indian T20 squad harm?
Well, I wouldn't say it's going to do harm, but as long as, there is clarity of thought and what has been conveyed to the players, because it's just not easy to be, 3 or 4 people padded up together and suddenly somebody says that, you have to walk in at number 3 or 4. If there is a definition of role, clarity in thought, as I said, certainly it could work well. But I feel, the top 3 should be something that has to be decided. Unless, the openers bat bulk of the overs, let's say 12 or 14, which happens on a very rare, basis in T20 cricket. If that happens, you can have somebody who's a finisher walk in at number 3 to, ensure the momentum is taken forward. Otherwise, I believe that, it should be the 1, 2 and 3 spots should be fixed ones. Unless India is looking at, trying to have the combination of left and right going. Even then, it could be either Tilak or Surya who should be slotted at number 3. In case they lose Abhishek, it should be Tilak replacing a left-hander, or in case they lose Shubman Gill, it should be Surya walking in. So it's not about doing harm. It's all about, what the role that has been defined to these players. As long as it's working well and India is winning, everything looks hunky-dory. But if there is a phase where this is not going to work, then I think they need to look at plan B and, revert to that.
Also, India tried at least 3 players in 3 different matches at number 3. The second match was saw Sanju Samson walking at number 3. He didn't deliver. He was dropped and he did not play any further part in the T20 series. Jitesh Sharma catching his place. Do you think Jitesh Sharma has displaced Sanju Samson from the India T20 squad? Do we ever see Sanju play T20 again for India?
Well, it's a $1 million question. Sanju's always lived on tenterhooks. His place has always been on the chopping board. Many a times, he's not justified his position because of the ability he's had in him. But having said that, this is going to be a musical chair that's going to be played between Sanju and Jitesh Sharma. It cannot be said that, is Jitesh Sharma. But having said that, yes, what sort of confidence would Sanju have in him is the question now. Because all the runs he's made in the last 12 months has been as an opener, with Abhishek Sharma. Having said that, elevation of Shubman Gill to the vice captaincy, he displaces Sanju at the top and starts opening the batting, which has created that sort of, a bit of turbulence in the batting order. And Sanju, be it for his home state Kerala or for his franchisee Rajasthan Royals, has never batted in the middle order or as a finisher. So his role in the side has been, a bit up and down. Whether the message to him has been conveyed or not is a question mark. But I reckon it's too early to, say that, have you seen the last of Sanju? No. There's still a lot of cricket left in him. And I don't think this particular think tank is looking at, saying that Sanju's overtaken, Sanju's been left out because of Jitesh Sharma. It was a fair call to give Jitesh a chance. But was it too early? Maybe one more game to Sanju, and then the last two games could have been, Jitesh Sharma being tried out. But I don't think it's been a case of Jitesh totally superseding Sanju and seeing the last of Sanju. No, I don't think so.
And going by the team list that was provided for the fifth T20, we saw Rinku Singh higher up the order. Tilak Verma dropped from the playing 11. Rinku slated to bat at number 3, and thanks to or courtesy the lightning stopping play and ensuring no further game, Rinku may have even played at number 3. So you would have had another new number 3 for India in T20s. Anyway.
Well, one part of it is I'm surprised, whether they looked at this bilateral as more of an experimental, time for this Indian squad by trying to, look at who could fill what spots moving forward on a, larger basis where India had to look at marshalling their troops, pick a pool of players to get their side going. So if that were to be the case, fair enough, giving a break to Tilak Verma, I don't think it was a question of being dropped. Because Tilak is somebody, I would say, who's indispensable in this current Indian setup. So yes, it was a fair call to give somebody like Rinku a chance, because he's also done really well for India in the T20Is in limited opportunities he's got. So to me, the only worrisome factor is, did India look at this bilateral more as an experimental basis is what I'm mulling on.
And looking at the bowlers that did duty for India in the T20 series, Arshdeep Singh, highest wicket taker for India, the only one in excess of 100 T20 wickets, not starting the series. Harshit Rana starting the series, but then Arshdeep got to play 3 matches. Harshit only the first and second. How do you look at these things? It's all also being on experimental basis that India went with.
Well, even if Bumrah is available, your number 2 bowler in T20Is to start will be Arshdeep Singh. Right. So in the absence of Bumrah, your spearhead in this format is going to be Arshdeep. As you mentioned, 100 plus T20I wickets, the only Indian to do so. Though Bumrah is on the cusp, he's on 99. Well, he just cannot be benched for the first 2 games and somebody like a Harshit Rana plays ahead of him. It can be experimental, whatever. You have to start with him, maybe give him a couple of games, give him a break or 2 after that. Play anybody you want in his place, to try and give him a look in Australia. Not to start with him is certainly, baffling. And as I said, a couple of things like even adding to that is, why on earth would you pick Kuldeep Yadav playing him in the first couple of games, decide not to go ahead with him? We saw that happen in the ODIs. And the justification was he was sent back to India, play the A game against the visiting South Africa A side to prepare himself for the test match series coming up against Australia. If that was, on cards, he could have been sent back after the ODI series and got to play 2 games against the South Africa A side. Right. So certain things, there are questions that have to be answered. But what is going through the, selector's mind and the Indian think tank as to what they're thinking about certain cricketers are certainly left to be desired.
Equally baffling is the case of Washington Sundar, who has been a revelation when he started off in the internationals as a T20 bowler, picking up wickets in power play, continuing his fine work, but to not be given a bowl, having him in the playing 11, or to bring him in the 17th over of an innings. What do you make of it, Sri? I couldn't understand what was going on. Though in the second match that he played, he picked up 3 wickets and won the match for India. But then Washington Sundar in the playing 11, only as a batsman and not in the top 5, but somewhere way down at number 7 or 8. What does Washington Sundar and Indian cricket and to the Indian think tank means?
Well, Washington Sundar is capable of bowling in the power play with the new ball. He can bowl you the middle overs, he can bowl you in the death. So this theory of, when 2 right-handers are at the crease, it could be a Tim David, it could be a Mitch Marsh, it could be a, Glenn Maxwell. These are the batters whom Washington Sundar has bowled to many a times in the IPL, and he's been successful. As you mentioned, certain players, it was a classic example of Nitish Reddy in the ODIs. His role, nobody knew. Was he a batter who could bowl a bit, or was he a bowler who could bat a bit? Certain calls have been, pretty indecisive. And if you play Washington Sundar in the playing 11, why wouldn't you give him a bowl? You not give him a bowl is the question. One of those players who's been a 3-format player. When you repose that faith saying he could be a part of all 3 formats, then what stops you from not bowling him in T20 cricket? If he's not bowled earlier, it becomes a different ball game. In the last 3 to 4 years, he's been a prime bowler for whichever franchise he's turned out for an IPL. Also in the T20Is, he's played for India. So yes, again, these questions have to be answered by the think tank as to what role Washi was given. Yes, he did finish off well in the third T20 when India chased down and he got a brilliant 50. But having said that, he's an all-rounder in the side. He's not just somebody, again, who can bat at times. He can bowl at times. That's not the way forward. He's somebody who's a proper all-rounder. He has to get, the opportunities that come his way. So certainly that was, really mind-boggling to me. And what they thought about him was really surprising. And yes, this theory of left-armers and leg spinners not able to bowl to left-handers, the same with off-spinners to right-handers. I think this theory just goes over my head.
And as it happened, 3 out of the 3 wickets, if not 2, were right-handers. So that says what he is capable of. So this theory of right-handers not to be bowling to right-armers or right-armers not to be bowling to right-handers, that should just go out of the boundary ropes. Anyway, so going by the series and the way India performed, do you think India has more or less settled down with the T20 World Cup squad, which is about less than 3 months away?
Well, I think, to be honest, they have the pool more or less, which is looks settled, and they have ticked all the boxes. And mind you, this World Cup is going to happen in the subcontinent. So it will be horses for courses, and spin will certainly play a major role. But the only question is, I think Akshar and Washi are going to stay there, and they will be the guys who would rule the roost either in the middle order and bowl their quota of overs with spin. It all boils down to see what sort of role Kuldeep Yadav will have to play, if at all he's picked and he's in the scheme of things. Otherwise, I would say that, in this particular series, India have ticked all boxes and more or less they have a settled look to the side. I don't think there would be any surprise, coming up or anybody out of this, a set of players who would make it to the World Cup.
And certainly Varun Chakravarti is also in the scheme of things, who played in almost all the matches, bowled and picked up crucial wickets. So that is something which is to be looked eagerly forward to. So thank you, Sri. Fantastic thoughts, especially on Sanju and his baffling omission. Kuldeep Yadav not playing all the matches, being sent back home to prepare for the tests. And of course, Washington Sundar and the question mark on Washington Sundar's role. Thank you, viewers. Fantastic having you. We'll be back with you before the start of the upcoming test series, India versus South Africa, which is not far away. The Kumbi Jikku Show will be back with the preview of the test, and there is lots more coming your way. Thank you very much, Sri. Thank you. Take care and have a good weekend. Viewers, thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jikku.